Ladies and gentlemen, we are live and in color, playing in with a little Junior Brown. Let's get a little bit of Junior here. And ladies and gentlemen, how about that? Playing us in with a little Junior Brown on this Wednesday, May the 6th, and the day after Cinco de Mayo. I hope everybody's not too terribly hungover and maybe I had a chance to enjoy, I don't know, Pacifico or Modelo, Corona, Pacifico. Yeah, am I starting to come across as someone who might know a little bit about those that golden ale that comes in the bottles? Anyway, I'm your somewhat semi-savvy, politically minded host, Abby Kaufman, coming at you live and in color from the outside of our secret location. Apparently, sometime in the middle of the night, we just got overrun by it was aliens that were looking for Bigfoot and also people that had near death experience. So I told them to listen to George Noory at Coast to Coast KFI, and they'll be well taken care of over there. So guys, I can't stop with this, but the New York Times, okay, the top headline: Republicans seek $1 billion. You see where I'm going with this? For a secure ballroom and whatever accoutrements the secured ballroom slash bunker would be. Does that not sound like really Hitlerish kind of thing? Like the bunker with the frivolous, facade of state dinners and state banquets, and so yeah, $1 billion, and I mean, you got to admit, we have not seen grift. I've never seen grift like this in my life. Grifting like this. Um, so he says, "Hey, pals, old pal, old buddy, old friend of mine. I kind of like to have this presidential ballroom, and I sure like you to kick in a little money." And well, how much, Mr. President? Oh, I don't know, 10 mil or so might do. At least a mil, somewhere between that. So yes, sir, it's my pleasure. So you do that enough times, and don't forget, he had a fundraising goal of 300,000, which became 500,000. Like just as he is wont to say and do things without any evidence or need to do so. And we'll kind of call that unencumbered by the thought process. And I mean, I could try to be kind of polite and take, like, the my granddad approach. When I started chatting with his doctor about his seniorhood, he explained to me there's this process known as uh, what is it, cerebral arteriosclerosis or something like that, and it's a hardening of the arteries and vessels in your brain. And I get the impression that the arteries and vessels and all that kind of need to be left alone. If you just leave them alone and do their own, let them do, they'll regulate stuff. But anyway, just so let's get back to the ballroom. Now, am I also the only person that thinks that's like one of the funniest words in the English language? And it becomes even funnier when a 79-year-old man who's apparently got this orange fetish, or fetish for orange, or God only knows. Uh, so he's got this fetish for orange, and he's sitting there. So eventually, he gets what, 300 mil becomes 500 mil, and he raises it, no problem. Imagine that. There was, I bet there was no shortage of donors. I mean, he could have scammed whatever he wanted to. Okay, so and everyone said, "Oh, great, it's privately funded. We don't care. We don't care. It's privately funded." And then lo and behold, on the front, now I'll say this again, on the front page of the New York Times today, Republicans seek $1 billion for. And like I said, when a 70-year-old man wants or needs, a bigger, more ballroom, I think I'll just buy him a new pair of boxer shorts and give him all the ballroom he needs. You know, and you don't get to keep the $500 million as a a gratuity. And yet the guy just he separates people from their money in one way or another. And way back when, that would be called theft or stealing or something like that. Okay. Yeah, everybody kind of knows what theft and stealing is and all that. But let's say you're in a you wear a or you dress nicely and you kind of anyway. So what happens? You just kind of get lulled into sleep by how so anyway, back to the thing. So even though he's made a few billion already, he still wants the 500 mil. So the scam, they claim, and I think the Times also they went on to kind of uh, put things in context, and the exact thing was public money targeted for project build as. Did I say build as? Build as privately financed. Uh, that's it's just a lie. And once you start that, once you've lost credibility, you may never get it back. For instance, I kind of discount almost everything that comes out of Donald Trump's mouth. Why do I do that? Because he has a past history of doing exactly that. And it's like I tell people, the past may not be the best way to predict future behavior, but for the time being, it's like all we have. And if you have any thoughts you might want to share, give us a call at 949-629-3820, and we'll see what's going on in your end. Let's get the old caller ready. Guys, it's incredibly bright out here, and I'm doing my best to kind of position me in the laptop and the camera so that you guys don't get like super glary. I hope if it's not working out, let's give us a call. Let me know, 949-629-3820. And, just in case you're one of those people that is making it through okay, go to our website, democracyradionetwork.com. And when you see that PayPal donate button, and I've said this before, I don't want you to smash. I want you to smash the living daylights out of that thing. And let's help Abby get his car worked on. So, meanwhile, back at the ranch, how, like I said, the 300 million became 500 million, but now that the taxpayer is going to pay for it, it's $1 billion. I mean, and don't these guys just have any shame? And apparently not. And that, but that's why we started democracyradionetwork.com, as we want to elect Democrats to every position. And I don't care if it's the assistant to the assistant dog catcher. Of course we want to be the dog catcher, but not only that, not only do we want to be the dog catcher, we want Democrats in the assistant dog catcher and in the assistant to the assistant dog catcher. So we're here, Democrats. If you kind of want to come on and let us know what you're running on and why you're running. Everybody's got a different motivation for this. Everything from pure, being a good citizen and just being a really good, just a patriot. And I don't. I'm not going to get in too deep to patriotism, but I do want to mention that it comes from the Latin patre, father. So you get some idea of of where we're going with that. So $500 million becomes $1 billion on the taxpayer dime. And that's after you bulldoze the East Wing. I mean, it just never stops with this guy. And I think that's the moral of the story, is that as long as he and his guys are in office, it ain't gonna stop. And they gotta lie, cheat, and steal to keep them. Oh, and how about demanding the state records from Georgia as far as every election worker. I mean, I know, the founders clearly intended that the document be a growth item, that it reflect the time it was being interpreted. They never intended the four corners of the document to mean everything. If it ain't in there, it ain't in there. That's just a cheap intellectual cop out that the right always goes to, and it denies social policy. It 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 denies social activity. It's just a horribly narrow-minded site, unless you want or way to be, unless you want to paralyze the government. And if you guys haven't noticed, not only has Trump paralyzed the government, he's dismembered it. I mean, we're at the point now where he's already cut off, hands and maybe a couple of toes on one foot. I'm pretty soon he's going to be down to like major organs. And if you think that Donald Trump is going to take it in the shorts for the American public, you are sadly mistaken. And he sees, what he sees? He sees 340 million possible people to scam. And again, what makes me say that? Gosh, I don't know. Would it be that degree from Trump University that they celebrated by having a Trump steak that they probably washed down with Trump water? And after they got a little, a little loose, did the guy pick up his genuine Chinese chips and Donald Trump Les Paul? And Donald Trump's name has to come before Les Paul's, right? And it is a guitar. I mean, it's not like Trump never played. So the how can I put this? The contempt shown. He just takes. How about Iran? Yeah, how about that thing? And the stock market's going gangbusters, and you know why? Because everybody's drunk with power. Nobody realizes that there's going to be a reckoning, and when it happens, the long guys can be caught out like you would not believe. And so, of course, the short guys going to have a big payday, but you can rest assured the massive Americans will not be helped by any economic policies coming out of the White House. And I think, who was it? George Bush. The young one was George W. Bush. The first one was George Herbert Walker Bush. And if I remember right, this would probably have been around 1980ish. And they were debating. And what was I going to say? I know. Reagan and Bush. They were debating economic policy, and Reagan describes his, trickle down tax policy that has never worked, will never work, and can never work. By the way, it's just a complete lie every time they say it. And George Herbert Walker Bush, to his credit, former CIA head, which is a job nobody ever really retires from, if you know what I mean. And George Herbert Walker Bush himself called it, I love this, voodoo economics. I don't know if you've been listening to little Jimi Hendrix, Voodoo Child, but voodoo economics. And it was such an abject failure that, Republicans keep bringing it back, but telling a different story about how great it was. And, let's set something straight about Ronald Reagan. I understand Republicans worship him, but for the life of me, I just don't understand why. Don't forget, he closed the mental hospitals. He said nobody can be locked up against their will. And we know there's certain street people we've all seen that, for their own safety and protection, much less safety and protection of society, they ought to be kept, they're not able to care for themselves, and they're not able to function in society. Otherwise, they wouldn't be naked in the Middle Coast Highway trying to cross. Just, a little finer point there. Uh, so anyway, as if that's not bad enough, and throwing the mentally ill on the street. I mean, Charles Dickens wouldn't do that, would he? I guess. Yeah, I hope you realize how profound that is. I've told the story so often that I kind of blow by it. Um, but yeah, threw the mentally ill on the street, and just to show you the complete heartlessness, he goes ahead and cuts the Section 8 subsidized housing. So not only the mentally ill thrown out on the street, but they're not able to find shelter. And guess what that kind of equates to? Did I hear somebody not? Yes, you're right. It's homelessness. That's exactly what happens. Now, let's fast forward 40 years, or even 30 years, 20 years. The problem got worse year after year over year, didn't it? Yeah. Uh, but it really does help to at least acknowledge the root cause. Trying to not repeat the mistakes. And it just kill. Oh, I forgot after my Trump steak dinner that I was celebrating after graduating Trump U, that I washed down with Trump water and Trump champagne. And after playing my Chipson, I forgot we could have called the family together and had like a little prayer circle, and worship our Trump family Bible that we bought, I think, for the low price of $59.99, because $60 would have been too much, right? So, what do you expect from the guy? I mean, were you not paying attention? Did you not care? I would love to know. Yeah, I'd love to know what beyond January 6th. I mean, wasn't that enough? You want to see more? I can't. I mean, there's some. There's a few neurons that aren't exactly firing in the right order, and in my humble opinion. Uh, but yeah, and so as I'm listening to Joe Scarborough this morning, he makes it a point to comment about gas in Georgia being like $4.50 a gallon, and I paid almost $7 the other day. So I'm just wondering, how in the world do these guys afford it? I mean, California is the seventh largest economy in the world. We could do okay, but Georgia isn't like that. Yeah, they don't have tons of high, even decent paying jobs, especially out of the few towns. Besides what, Atlanta, Savannah, Macon. I don't think there's seen a whole lot else. That's like South Carolina. You got the coast with Charleston, then you have the capital of Columbia, and then you have probably Clemson in the mountains. So, which means we are able to be incredibly hyper local with politics, and let me take a second just to take a breather from the ballroom deal. Okay, I'm sorry, I can't even put that down. I can't stop. I can't stop there. The basis for the newly announced truce or peace deal, whatever it is a one-page document. Probably, I would hope it's 8.5 by 11. I'd hope it's not like 40 feet by 80 feet or anything. So yeah. Now keep in mind the deal that Obama had that kicked the can down the road for like 20 years is significantly better than the 10 or 12 years that is on this document, this one-page document. And that, to me, that's like drawing something on the back of a cocktail napkin. It might be binding, but you got to be kidding me, right? there's like major hostilities. 10,000 Iranians got killed in this, not counting just the destruction. How do they rebuild? They didn't have a boatload of money before this. And did I mention about nobody being really sure about where the oil and the money are from Venezuela? Yeah, somebody knows. But it's a mystery. Now, I think you can narrow down the suspect list pretty damn quickly, especially if you start to arrest some people and see what kind of testimony they may be able to offer. Yeah, I keep thinking that Todd Blanche must have anglicized his name some way, because with some of his legal theories, he's just like Todd Blank, right? Um, the whole notion about oh, we're not firing a bullet, so the 60-day war calendar is told and stops till we reshoot. Like, who said that? Folks, they make up stuff. Before, when they were on Fox TV, uh, then they just kind of lied on TV for money. And the White House and the administration, the difference is they lie on TV for a boatload of money. That's the difference. The stations got a lot higher, uh, which again is why I think the situation is kind of serious. The primary ballots, the June 2nd primary ballots here in California came out the other day, and I'm not going to waste any time getting mine in. There, the local Democratic clubs will have little, get-togethers and signing parties and walking over to the ballot box. And some people may think that's corny, but I'm going to tell you, we have it. Things are much easier to do if you're united. If everybody pulls the same way on the road, you got something. If you get people pulling different ways on the road, then it's highly unlikely, progress can be made. And this time around, it's I actually thought 2024 was for all the marbles. This is for the marbles of the left. There's a great editorial. I forgot if it was in the New York Times or Financial Times yesterday about Trump visiting President Xi in China, but China had moved on. It's like they had this relationship, and when I mess with the relationship, the other one says, "Later, pal." Right? Uh, and can't you feel the disorder? Chaos is an overused word that not a lot of people get, but I think a lot of people get, like like Margaret Ricard, you say the bull skating, and I just think that they've been bull skating us way too long, and they still got way too much bull skating left in them. So for God's sake, let's unite around this one. Join your local Democratic club. If there's $20 and you can't afford it, pay it off. Uh, I know some of those micro donation things get to be a pain, but a dollar here, there, and that's only if like I say, if it's not a big deal. Actions speak louder than words. And when you actually, spend a buck, it becomes a little more visceral, a little more real, a little more tangible. And guys, I hate the role of money in politics as much, and I guarantee you more than the next guy. And as far as Michelle Obama, when they go low, we go high. Well, I think Gavin Newsom has the best approach yet. I think Newsom approaches, I fight fire with fire. I fight fire with water. I fight fire with sand. I'll fight the fire. It'll take different tools, but I'll fight the fire. And because he distinguishes himself on that basis alone, I'm Newsom 2028. And let's take a little diversion to California politics for a second. And you guys know we had another gubernatorial debate last night on CNN. And the dilemma in every vote is, do you do you vote for the person that you think will do the best job or the better job, or do you vote for your guy? And I would tell you, if you are voting strictly as a matter of who would be the best governor for California, I'm almost inclined to say Katie Porter. She will take no prisoners. And this, kind of a misogynistic kind of thing, but there was a guy years ago, somewhere in the Midwest, who got disfigured in an accident, and he wanted to run for city council, I think it was. And so, and he's like I said, he's been disfigured, facially, right? So, what does he do? He advertises himself as, elect me. I'm not just another pretty face. Okay. And that's kind of how I feel about Katie Porter. I don't think she cares a whole lot about anything. I mean, other than, friends, family, California, and getting things done for Californians. I just think she's a real force of nature. I mean, out of all the people on all those stages, she's the one that I'm most afraid of. And yeah, just let's say on a physical level, I mean, I'm sure she beat me up with like one hand tied behind her back. Oh, so yeah, Katie, if you're listening by any chance, we'd love to chat with you. I said, yeah, you could well be the best candidate there. Uh, and if you think Katie's the best candidate, then give me a call. Let me know 949-629-3820. And listen, let us know what's going on in your mind. What's the latest thing to go through the roof? How about those unexpected car repairs, huh? Uh, you know, the days of, how can I put this? Everything is hundreds of dollars. Yeah, especially if you start with a minimum 1 hour labor charge of, oh, I don't know, anywhere from $100 to $500 an hour, depending on who, what, and where. Uh, yeah, it's funny. I bet those old Rolls mechanics are doing pretty well these days. Uh, you know, and it's so funny out here. I used to swear that Porsche sent half their output to Southern California, but now I know it's true. So if you see somebody in a Porsche in Newport Beach, you can just kind of laugh at them and just kind of drive on. So anyway, let's get back to the old news. Just kind of keep things rolling here. Uh, how about this one? Little clarity on oil money after Maduro. No, no, you mean there's a Trump operation, there's missing money, and you're like, huh? Please, God, don't tell me that's true. If there's missing money and there's a Trump involved, that might be just like a reasonable jumping off point to look a little deeper. Yeah, I don't want to cast any aspersions on anybody, heaven forbid, but again, what do you think based on past behavior? That's right. He's a crook. Yeah. I don't know if a lying crook is a contradiction in terms or not, but it's just amazing. And hey, pretty boy Pistol Pete Kegstaff is funnier. He gets on national TV system, but it's not unusual to fire people in the middle of a war. Barack Obama did it 183 times. Like, where did that come from? And to know exactly where that came from, you would have to pretend you were wiping your behind and you just pulled something out. Like I say, he just pulls this thing out of his behind. Uh, and since it's live, and everybody's so dumbfounded, the moment passes, and you know, another distortion gets widely distributed. Think about that. Another distortion gets widely distributed. And as well as I do, the more times somebody hears something, the more likely are to believe it's true, even though there's no reason to believe one over the other. But the more people hear something, the more they'll believe it. I guess that's kind of like brainwashing and all that. Uh, so, and if you need your brainwashed, please do not give us a call at 949-629-3820. But if you need some little, if you want a place where you can let us know your lefty, progressive, liberal kind of thoughts, we are your home on the internet. We are democracyradionetwork.com. And I also want to remind you that we are the birthplace of the MASA movement, MASA. And did I tell you about MASA, MASA? I didn't. Well, let me do that now. MASA is Make America Sane Again, because I think a lot of people just, you know, like Todd Blank, or Todd Blank Mind, it's just, uh, the whole Comey thing. It's so transparent that the hypocrisy is it's just glaring. And for the life of me, I can't figure out. I mean, were people that gullible that they voted for Trump? And the answer is yeah. And nobody can say this in what we voted for. It's exactly what you voted for. You didn't like pull the lever down halfway and stop. Did you say, I'm only in for a little bit? Did you actually do that? Or, which is much more likely, did you just so happen to pull that lever all the way over and straight down and make sure you got every Republican up and down the ticket? That's just the only way you guys can win. But anyway, I digress. And it really is a nice day out here. I hope everybody's having a nice day in a favorite locale. Maybe it's probably close to 70 degrees, light breeze, and you can tell that summer's on the way. And of course, we can't wait for a little summertime. Fun in the sun, and adult beverage, and maybe even comedy or a boat or something. Uncle Ab has offered to help some Democrat candidates by taking them and like I say, maybe the highest donor of the week on like a Friday afternoon sale for like 4 to 6 or whatever they would want. And you know why we do it? We do it because we are the Democracy Radio Network, and that's why we ask you to shout louder. Why? Because silence is compliance. So don't be silent. Give us a call, 949-629-3820, and we'd love to hear what's going on in your world. Thanks. Hey, this is the second day in a row I'm breaking my own self-imposed rule. I used to not. I used to save my coffee till like 2 or so, and I always try to do that to make sure I can have a little energy at the tail end. But lately, I've been drinking it like when I come on the air, and you guys might just be the beneficiary of that. There just might be fewer pauses or fewer interrupted trains of thought. That might be a bit ambitious, but you get what I mean. Okay, back to the New York Times. So we've got the ballroom, it's just too much ballroom. As a matter of fact, if I never heard the word ballroom again, as long as I lived, I would be perfectly happy. So let's jump off from there. Let's take a little quick swing to the Middle East while we got that little Iranian excursion going on. And the Israeli settlers on the West Bank are attacking the Palestinians that live there. And the government is all but saying, good on you. Fine, you do it. We don't care. There's an incredible number of. You have visionaries, and then you have people that are in it for the short term, the here and now. What can I get out of it now versus what will I have in the future? And when you get the Trump guys, or actually the Netanyahu guys, just not caring, or not, how can, it's worse, it's not enforcing the law, not punishing those who have committed transgressions. And to me, that's a tacit acceptance. And these Israeli settlers are just, they're just fanatics. I mean, and every religion has fanatics or zealots, whatever it is, and Judaism is absolutely no different. But see, what's worse is these guys are really smart with weapons, and they just don't care. They to the core of their being, they believe that the whole Judea, Samaria, and all that was what God agreed to give the children of Israel, the promised land. And if God promised us, gave us this, He promised it to us, then and then obviously you shouldn't be here. And if you are here, we're going to beat the living daylights out of you till you leave. And Netanyahu and the government's just like, well, I didn't see anything to you. So you have just like zero trust between these guys. And, and I'm the first one to tell you there was no paradise before, and every piece was tenuous. But this is different. This is different. And if anybody thinks this is going to play out well, work well for the United States, you are sadly mistaken. I bet those diesel guys, well, I mean, out here it's already over $8 a gallon. I don't know what it is in like Georgia, but don't all those all those guys have like the big diesel? I guess that's unless they either have the big diesel or the big gas engine. So, and I got to change. So just a second. My car has a 3-liter Ford V6 in it, and for the life of me, and I think it makes like 235 horsepower. And for the life of me, I have no idea why we need 400 horsepower cars on the street. They just because someone has a superior car does not automatically make them a superior driver. I mean, they may think so, but I just don't think that's true. And the bad thing about, let's put it the other way, the absolute best thing about racing and why car racing is so safe is because everybody's going about the same speed and about the same direction, right? When you get cars going different speeds, different directions, God only knows. I won that Le Mans race like in was that the late 30s? Anyway, where the speeding Mercedes came up on a slower, whatever it was, crashed into it, and like 30 people in the stands died. It was some horrific motor racing tragedy. So yeah, you make speeds up, and you got a little problem there. I just thought I'd mention that. We think next time you put an e-bike on the road. Oh yeah, talk about e-bikes. I've got to tell you this too. About 2 months ago, probably maybe before Christmas, I was coming back from the gym, and it was about 6 o'clock in the morning. Gym opens at 5, and work out till 5:30, clean up, leave at 6, and so I'm leaving the gym in Huntington Beach, and I'm getting ready to make my right turn onto a street to take me to Coast Highway. And next thing I know, there's this kid like on the right side of my car, like where the wheel is. And I'm like stopped. I'm like, geez, God, what happened? And it's like, you ran over me. I'm like, I don't think so, but And then the kid was like, well, I just want to go surfing and all that. So make a long story even longer, he goes off and like he's a lot to my car, and it's running because I jumped out so quickly. But so anyway, let's fast forward a month or two into that, and I get a text from an attorney in Los Angeles saying that there's a police report out on me for hitting their son on his e-bike. I'm like, what? He rode off to go surfing. So I returned the call immediately, and he offers to, settle the case without going to the insurance company if I'm happy to pay the, the repair for the bike and whatever else it is. I'm like, I don't know. I don't, I was always told to go through insurance, and that's kind of what I have to do. Uh, so anyway, and I said, well, when you look at it, he ran into me. He hit me on the side of my car. If I had him, then he would be like in front of me, wouldn't he? He ran into me on the side. So I leave it, and then I call the insurance company and report it. And I text the guy back saying that, here's the insurance info contact. So then a couple of weeks ago, I get a voicemail from a woman who says, I'm calling to chat with you about this incident. So I return the call, and she says, I've got to tell you, I've tried to contact this guy 5 or 6 times, and I never hear back from him. And she said, I guess I'm going to have to just close the case. And I thought to myself, and I could have sworn, like I said, the guy practiced law. And if an attorney doesn't get back to an insurance company, it's because it's not helpful to him to get back to the insurance company. And I think that as you see kids walking around with phones or riding the e-bikes with their phones, that it's not uncommon for someone to get distracted and not see the car, the person, whatever it is. And, you automatically look at fault when you got a 13-year-old kid on the ground with a helmet. So let's everybody try to be a little more aware of these guys. I don't want to, I think e-bikes are just kind of like a bad idea anyway, for the same reasons the race cars. You're mixing speeds and vehicles that just shouldn't be mixed. Or the extreme example of that, I'll get off this in a minute, are bicyclists. Now, I'm not sure, but I know bicycles don't weigh much these days. I'm going to assume 10 pounds, more or less, not very heavy. And I said, that could be way off. But yet you'll have a 110-pound woman or a 150-pound guy on a 10-pound bicycle, are you sharing road space with a 5,000-pound piece of metal that could just, kill them by knocking them over. And, once you get knocked over, whether your head gets cracked open or not, it's an entirely different question. But if it does get split open, you'll probably, be a vegetable, and you'd probably rather have died in the first place. So anyway, the point of the moral of the story is these e-bikes are good and bad. I mean, I know they cut down, excuse me, on parents and carpooling and emissions and all that. I get it. But, is your son's life really worth, getting someplace 15 minutes early, or, what I mean? If you think it's worth it and you're happy with that, I completely get it. But, and my thought is that it's at that point, it's like a motorcycle. And if you can ride one on the street, you need, protective pants and a jacket of some sort. I mean, in the history of the world, the pavement has never lost to a motorcyclist. I mean, trust me, if there's a motorcyclist and pavement involved, the pavement probably won. I just a wild guess. So anyway, I know we all kind of have to share the road. And I mean, I hate when there's like a gang of 50 bicycles on the Coast Highway on the weekends. But then again, I can't really complain about, how crowded Coast Highway is on a nice weekend. So anyway, meanwhile, back at the ranch, so the Israeli settlers are just, they're just killing these Palestinians. They're setting fire to the houses. I mean, and not only is it wrong, I mean, right, it's just incredibly wrong. But now you get the images all over the world. And there's a boatload of people who ain't particularly happy with Israel right now. And some are just downright hostile because of Netanyahu's actions since October 7th. I mean, nobody doubted, that Israel had some right to retaliate. I personally think that the retaliation was entirely proportionate. I mean, you just don't, you know, come aboard and kill, 13 to 1400 people and expect life to go on as usual. I mean, and I'm sure the Hamas leadership knew it. They just didn't care. And you know why they don't care? Because they're in the underground bunkers with the food. And you know what's on top of the underground bunker? A hospital, a mosque, a place of worship, a place of healing. Uh, so, until it's like your guys versus my guys, then there's going to be collateral damage, and I see nobody's happy about it. But you know, uh, these things are better left to more diplomatic minds than mine. Okay, so let's. Well, can we get? Let's go jump back into the California governor debate. And at this point, I don't care if Pope Leo ran as Republican; he wouldn't get my vote. Okay, and I really feel that way about people like Tom Steyer that can buy it. Uh, money makes you look awfully smart. It may not be a very accurate correlation, but as a general proposition, the smart people get ahead. And Steyer made a boatload of money through investments that a lot in coal that were just brutal on the climate. I mean, you can't put it any other way. You use a grill on the weekend, me use a grill on the weekend, the old charcoal kind. Might not have been a big deal in and of itself, but times the cajillion number of people on the earth, at least in North America, doing this, it made a difference, and it wasn't particularly helpful. So anyway, so Steyer and Cole is enough of a connection. How about this? Steyer, Cole, Coal, and the R for Republican is enough for me to just discount them completely. I wish I could explain a little better my newfound how can I put this? My newfound thought that Katie Porter could just be the best candidate. And like I said, there's no shortage of great candidates, and you got to forgive me. It's been a few minutes, and I haven't yet spoken about some of my favorite local candidates. Locally, Ada Arsenio in District 67. She's just a powerhouse. She gets things done. She was the former head of the Orange County Democratic Party. She's a union labor leader. Ada's Ada's as tough as they come. And you see, when I want somebody on my side, I may not agree with somebody's tone of voice or this side or the other. But when it comes down to who do I want for the job, it's inevitably somebody like Ada Arsenio, somebody like Katie Porter. As for the Costa Mesa City Council race, like Kara Stewart and Dr. Kelly Brown, districts 3 and 5. These, and they're all women. And they all get things done. It's amazing to me. Short Katie Porter might have a little short temper, but at this point, everybody knows it. And I think also everybody knows she's not particularly malicious. She wants everybody to be as good as she is. And I mean, let's face it, she pretty much functions at a different level than you and me intellectually. So anyway, I did this little thing for Javier Becerra on Instagram. Whenever I would see Javier Becerra, I would always write Javier Becerra is Javier Mobetta, because I like those kind of corny rhymes. But as I looked up and down the debate stage, Mahan from San Jose, obviously gets some consideration just because it's the mayor of San Jose. I mean, I could give him a good look too. But I think that Katie Porter might be number one, and I just told you about number two. So gotta hate when things are referred to as number one and number two. Just just one of those little naming rights things. I would rather not have happened. But if you are enjoying this Wednesday afternoon, May 6th, then give us a call at 949 629 3820 and let us know how you're spending this day after Cinco de Mayo, which makes me really want to have a beer badly. But, I just, sometimes sacrifices have to be made. And I've got coffee in the official DemocracyRadioNetwork.com sticker on my DemocracyRadioNetwork.com mug. That's right. So hit me up for an email or call or something. We'll get one in the mail to you. Now, I completely misread the day. I thought it was going to be a little cooler and all that. And I didn't know it was going to be like beer drinking weather out here. So it might just be beer drinking weather. And if anybody wants to buy Ab a beer, then he can call in at 949-629-3820 and I'd talk to Ab and ask him what kind of beer he wants and where he wants it. And he'll probably say someplace close and wherever I am, wherever I have a mouth, I want it. But yeah, we should have grabbed the old mini bottle of what do you call it? Not scotch, Irish whiskey. Yeah, a little Jameson's and a little coffee, a little whipped cream and a little sugar, and life ain't half bad like that, Oh, and another thing, big shout out to Sprouts on 17th Street in Costa Mesa. They had some kind of garlic sesame bowl with salmon and kimchi or kimchi. I forgot what her name is, C or kimchi or kimchi. Oh, bless me. So let us know. Give us a call, 949-629-3820. And maybe you too can join us with a little Irish whiskey in your mug. And just as a little aside from all that, one of my favorite ways to do that is to take my official DemocracyRadio.network.com mug. Excuse me. And, look, let's say pass the teeth, pass the gums, look out, tell me here he comes. So with that in mind, you can pretty well suffer through this. But what I think you should do is when you go to Starbucks and order that small or medium coffee in a very large cup, make sure they use the large cup and be sure and tell them that it's a necessary evil and can you please have one? And I think they'll pretty much see their way clear to let you have a little. I have no idea what time or anything it might be. Oh, how about that? We got a nice word from Luis in Riverside. How you doing, Luis? Luis, give us a call, 949-629-3820, and then let's wake the kids and phone the neighbors, and let's hear what you're all about, Luis. Thanks, man. I know you give us a call. So anyway, meanwhile, back at the ranch, FDA. Oh, how about this? The FDA pulled studies acknowledging the success of vaccines. Huh? Why would they do that? It might have something to do with the Health and Human Secretary who had half his brain eaten by a worm, and apparently that qualified him to be the Secretary of Health and Human Services. I mean, you could cry if it wasn't so sad. You know, I mean, it's beyond funny. We are officially the banana republic. You know, we're not. You know, Trump's clearly chopped off a hand or two, clearly a foot. I mean, at this point, he's down to like striking vital organs, any one of which could torpedo the country. Uh, of course, Trump could care less, but yeah, the fact of the matter is he's just a delusional old man with cognitive problems who needs to be put out to pasture. There's just, I mean, if you guys want to debate the issue, you can, but he is so far worse than Biden ever was. And of course, you guys don't care. All you want is your guy or no or not. And I'm going to submit to you that, there's a whole Texas thing. The sun don't shine on the same dogs behind every day. So some days it might be my behind to get sunshine on, and one day it might be yours. And if you get your sunshine on your behind, I might not get mine. So it's all that kind of shortage, and see how things work out. And talk about shortages and all that. I hope I hope my buddy John Perot made it down from Riverside, and that his wife maybe felt like baking some Christmas biscotti in May. I really like those things. I know they're a huge pain in the ass to make, and as she always says, me like two. And of course, I eat them like right then and there. And, like biscotti, what biscotti? But hers are exceptional. She does like pistachio, and God knows what else. And I'm not, I don't have privy to Italian recipes like that, so I don't really know. That's why whenever it's Italian for me, it is Pizza de Oro on Baker Street in Costa Mesa, California. I tell Andrew, the tall, thin guy, red hair glasses, that Uncle Ab sent you. And he'll always take good care of it. Tonight is Wednesday night. And I just so happen to know that Wednesday night at Pizza de Oro on Baker Street in Costa Mesa, I just so happen to know that Wednesday is all you can eat spaghetti night. Uh, you guys did hear that right? All you can eat spaghetti night, and it's like well over $8 and change. And you know, you could eat this thing for 3 days, depending on how big your appetite is. So thanks, guys. We enjoyed it. Last time I'll see if I can't make it tonight, and if not, it'll be soon. So anyway, have fun and look out for me, and look out for the whatever I says that I sent them. Okay. Sorry we had to get that out of the way, but those guys are really good. It's just a good Italian family restaurant, and like I said, some of the specials I remember. See, I think Friday is chicken parmesan or eggplant parmesan. Let's see here. Tuesday might be pizza night. Sunday and Monday are, I think they're arguing lasagna night, with the difference being that I think on Sunday night, you get pasta with it. It's a dollar or two more, but pasta with it, as opposed to the traditional arcade lasagna with absolutely no pasta with it. I was thinking about a few more, pastas in there. I don't know if it's not exactly angel hair, but yeah, it's not industrial either, and that's all I asked for. Oh, hang on, guys. Yeah, there's just on a whole lot of ways to finesse a sneeze when you got to do it. It's yeah, you might be able to slip a fart in every now and then. Just being a guy, you probably had enough practice at it. But sneezing is a horse of a whole different color. Uh, and of course, I sneeze in the weirdest places. Like I won't sneeze for 24 hours. I'll get in the sauna, and 10 minutes later, I'm sneezing. And people are thinking, what kind of disease do you have? And you're like, no, it's just one of those things that just punches makes that's the neuron connection that's made. So, okay. let's dig back in to the news. Let's see. Uh, this one. You could have knocked me over with a feather. Could not believe it. Are we ready? Okay. Trump minimizes the effect of the Iran war on the economy. Uh, you know, you idiot. How? I would so much like to never see that name again or hear it or use it in the news. I don't. It's beyond Trump fatigue. It's like just and in that way, doesn't he deserve to be like 86th? Just no more. Just what I mean by that is just gotta be quiet. Just don't since you open your mouth and confirm that you're stupid every time you open it, then I'm gonna go out on a limb and suggest you like maybe don't open it. Yeah, I know it's gonna be taken real well, but I don't want to have 2 hours of Republicans suck and all that, but you do have to wonder about it. And if you are wondering about it, then give us a call at 949-629-3820 and let us know what's going on with you. Have you been to Home Depot lately? Does it take a second mortgage to go to McDonald's? Much less a Sizzler, can you imagine? Sizzler might have to pay off in four from my PayPal. If I guess they let you do that. That'd be kind of the ultimate, wouldn't it? You get to like pay, to steal your food. That's what you need to survive. Oh, and there's another guy running, Oscar Ortiz, and Oscar is O2 to me. And we both know you can't live without O2, so vote Oscar Ortiz. We are coming to you live in Newport Beach, California, and we're in District 47, and we're kind of partial to Dave Mann, and I'm gonna tell you if anybody's had a chance to. Sorry about that. Costa Mesa Supervisor Foley, she's and my little comment for her was for all that's holy, you got to vote for. That's right, Katrina Foley. Holy Foley just the corniness never stops, does it, folks? Okay, let's we keep since we're outside in our outdoor secret location. Oh gosh, would you believe hour one has already flown by? It is 1:02 here in the great Southern California town of Newport Beach, California, and we're coming at you live and in color. I am your somewhat semi-politically savvy host, Abby Kaufman, and we are coming to you live and in color from outdoors today at our secret undisclosed location. And the reason we're outdoors at our secret undisclosed location is that apparently last night at some point, the indoor secret location was overrun by aliens that look like Bigfoot and were curious about near-death experiences. So of course, I told them where to go, but just thought I'd let you know what's going on in your world. We always try to be like hyper local politically, and things just starting to shift around locally. I said the mail-in ballot went out a few days ago. Elections actually June 2nd, so of course we need to make sure everything is proper and in there a day early. And you know why? That's right, because they cheat. And I'm going to say that again. They cheat. And the thing about cheaters is they always look for new ways to cheat. It's like the old ways aren't good enough. We want to really screw you. Uh, I'm going to submit that's like a pretty horrible way to go through life. But I'm also going to submit that we probably each know more than our share of people like that. Okay, so, and as we're opining here. Critical races. Trump minimized. Oh, and how about this? God Almighty! You know, it just astounds me that people don't react more strongly to the stuff Trump does. Now they're demanding a list from Georgia with all the election workers. And I'm going to just kind of go out on a limb here and tell you that whatever they want the list for probably ain't too good for the election workers. And so you can't have, like Justice Roberts wants, you can't have a unified executive or unitary executive theory where all power in the executive branch comes from one guy. It wasn't designed like that. The whole system was a series of checks and balances. And when you don't ignore that, or when you do ignore that, you obviously don't help. Don't help the vast majority of us. So, it's just, yeah, the hypocrisy just astounds me. Uh, you know, I sit here and I shake my head. What after January 6th? Like that wasn't enough. And you wanted more. And it's not like he didn't give you more. Every time you would ask him for some evidence that he's a crook, he would give it to you. Guys, we could actually do this from Starbucks, but that's, see, Starbucks scenery might be better just, from a female standpoint. But you gotta admit, this ain't too bad here. I mean, we could live with this for a little bit. Uh, so what issues mean most to you coming up in the local primary or in the general, or is it all about replacing Trump and just getting rid of every vestige of him, or it's about taking what gains we can get to get in the majority and worry about everything else later? Well, I don't think the answer to worry about it later, I don't think that's ever really, or it's rarely a good idea. So if you got something to look at, it's usually better to have a quick look at it. Just just so. Uh, anyway, that's a little life suggestion you didn't really bargain for, but the way the world is going, uh, I mean, the election work thing's just horrible. But another reason, as if you didn't need one, but another reason to love the New York Times, and there's only two real reasons. It's their reporting and their opinion editorial section. And in the editorial section today, led off with Operation Epic Fury meet Operation Colossal Blunder. And I think everybody's got some idea uh, which title is more descriptive. Uh, Epic Fury, Colossal Blunder. Epic Fury, Colossal Blunder. Epic Fury, Colossal Blunder it is. So, I'll tell you what, guys, we're gonna let's see if I can't find the old be right back thing and kind of just check out for a few minutes. Let me go wash my hands. I'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. I gotta tell you, it was so nice. It's like perfect. Today's just a really nice day. Yeah, usually the breeze blows a little harder. And it's usually a little cooler, but this must be right in the sweet spot. Uh, so anyway, let's uh, reach over and see what else we want to cover today. Epic Fury, Colossal Wonder. That kind of says it all, doesn't it? And how about this? Rural America is being blindsided. How? With immigration detention centers and data centers that they put in small communities. They wanted to put a 10 or 15,000 person immigration detention center uh, in a town of 5,000 people. Yeah, it's just like everything else. Failing the plan is planning to fail, and we'll let you be the final judge, but I think you know what we're talking about. How about the trade deficit climbing 4.4%? What do you say? Trump, you're just an idiot. So let's see, with that kind of in mind, with this in the New York Times with the deficit, with the trade deficit rather. How about this? A sharp surge in oil prices forecast as global reserves plunge. Now, I don't know if it's true or not, but I could have sworn I heard something like California has 2 weeks of gas reserves left, maybe 4 weeks at the most. You would have to think we're pretty much coming down on crunch time. And, it's not like those guys can go through the Panama Canal. They either go through the Strait of Hormuz or they go around the Cape of Good Hope. And either way, it's just, you know, a dangerous gig. I saw somebody playing, I forgot what it was, in was it Ben Portman's? I guess it might have been. And Ben Portman's music store on Abercorn Street in Savannah. Shout out to all Portman and God, I can't remember his son's names. Anyway, Savannah used to be like a really nice little day trip from Charleston, right at 100 miles, along the coast. And, there's a really good bakery where you go bring back like bread for everybody. And, those days were fun. But I digress. Now, now we have to look for fun that we can afford. Not every bit of fun is affordable. Uh, sometimes you're just lucky to throw your fishing line in the pole from the bridge, and sometimes going 30 miles offshore is just a fantasy. That was pretty rare today to deviate from the standard veggie sandwich at Sprouts, but they have these dinners that not everything is designed to be eaten cold. Some things you can just like sit on your dashboard for an hour, which is one of my favorite ways to heat up something if there's no other choice in the matter. Because, ladies and gentlemen, one of the reasons I really enjoy Del Taco is they're hot. When you get that order, it is hot. And same thing for Pizza de Oro. When they bring you that boatload, that platter of spaghetti that's got to weigh 8 pounds. you know, uh, oh, and of course, what the scale said when the fat person got on it. You don't. How about one at a time, please? One at a time. I'm assuming you may have not heard that, and that's about time the old Financial Times helped a little bit. Two other things actually. One of the editorials was about bypassing the Strait of Hormuz and finding other ways. And on one hand, Trump clearly didn't need to do this. Uh, but you can, but that whole thing about it'll work until it doesn't work. Uh, and well, that's really good for like failure. How about like a plan B, like contingency plan? I don't really want to hear it works, so it doesn't work anymore. You know, we're not that stupid. Uh, Even though it's kind of a debating point with the Republicans, you would have to think that they are functioning with complete contempt for the American public. I mean, after all this, they asked for another $1 billion. This is on top of Trump adding 10% to the deficit himself. Uh, you couldn't make this up, could you? Only, and if any of you guys want to hear uh, my new song, Roll Those Republicans, let me know. Give us a call, 949-629-3820. Or you could always, what? Smash the 11 daylights on that PayPal donate button. And let's help Abby get some car work done. Oh, of course, we have all those like really corny sound effects that, are just so cool. I mean, how does a person not do that? And you know what we could do, ladies and gentlemen? While I kind of stretch for a minute, let's catch a little more Junior Brown. A little more Junior Brown. Here we go. How about that? My job, I'm the highway patrol. Highway patrol. I haven't paid as low. I'm just doing my job on the highway patrol. Doing my job. I'm just a highway patrol. Now, guys, that was pure genius. Junior Brown playing his Get Steel, the instrument that came to him in a vision. And for those of you who don't know the story, Junior was teaching guitar. He's achieved some degree of success already. And he went back to this small university to teach music. And somehow, and he's doing like some slide guitar stuff and some Telecaster stuff, and somehow he wants both. He wants a lap steel and a Telecaster that he can play alternating licks on. So he finds a guy to build them. He still builds them for other people, and I think he's got two of them. One called Big Red, one called Big Yellow, or something. Uh, so anyway, he has this instrument called the Get Steel, and so I said Telecaster neck and pickups, and then a lap steel neck and pickups, and there's a little slot where you can put a slide. And I mean, Junior's just the first time I saw this, the first time I saw Junior, I think it was on NPR. And I'm looking, I'm like, what planet did this guy fall from? And it was just about the time 12 Shades of Brown came out. And I must have beat that CD to death. God only knows how many times I played that. But yeah, Junior Brown playing the Get Steel. And that was his big hit, one of his big hit songs, The Highway Patrol. And the reason I kind of brought that up was with all the criminal activity going on in DC. This might be the only time you see or hear from a policeman. So take it exactly the way it was intended. It's to make the point that in DC there are no cops. Yeah. And they're on payroll to look the other way. And they're doing a pretty good job of it. Hell, we gotta have slip a jacket on. It's getting kind of breeze picking up a little bit. Uh, yeah, I don't know. At least in Southern California, when the sun peaks, it turns really cool really quickly. And of course, that's comes from someone who hates it when the temperature plunges into the 60s. But you got to give old Uncle Ab a break. And if you're inclined to give Uncle Ab a call, give him a call at 949 629 3820. So, guys, I don't know what just happened here, but